But rarely has there been a class like this one. They're young, mobile, and rocket armed, ready to take dead aim at the upper half of the first round, where all five are sure to be snagged. Can the class of 99 be the class of 83 with Dan Marino, with Jim Kelly, and with John Elway? Here comes QB 99, the next generation.
Now set, throws for the end zone. Touchdown, Kentucky! I don't believe what you saw.
He's off the races. It's a Syracuse touchdown. Donavan McNabb.
Daunte drops, looks, now rolls out. He's free to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Culpepper.
McNabb is going to run it at the 5. Dives into the end zone. Absolutely unbelievable.
And now he's going to throw it in the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown. What a play by Akili Smith. And what
Progressive Commercial Insurance offers affordable small business protection. You can receive discounts on commercial auto insurance for safe driving and paying in full. And get customizable coverages for your business. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes.
I took my $5,000 hearing aid out and put this in instead. I haven't asked anyone to repeat themselves in over 3 months. This is magic. I can't believe I wore this clunky thing for years when this was out there the whole time.
He tried everything to avoid paying for prescription hearing aids. He knew his hearing wasn't that bad, he just needed clarity. There was no way he was going to pay the $5,000 fee that audiologists were demanding. But every cheap device he found didn't work. They would turn up the volume, but they didn't make anything clearer. He sent back pair after pair and had to even throw some in the trash when he couldn't get his money back. But why were these cheap amplifiers so bad? What separates a cheap amplifier from a hearing aid that actually helps? He refused to believe this was only solved by a $5,000 device. There must be a cheaper way to do it. And he was right. But what he didn't realize is that volume was not really his problem. It was frequencies. He was actually losing specific high frequencies when people spoke. Letters like S, F, and T were disappearing, so everyone seemed like they were mumbling. This also made low-frequency sounds like a lot of typical noise seem even louder, so the useful sounds were drowned out. He didn't need the huge power of an expensive pre-prescription hearing aid. He didn't need a huge lump of plastic stuck behind his ear for everyone to see. He didn't even need to see a doctor or get a prescription. And unlike a cheap amplifier, this solution was not created for volume. It was created to rebalance frequencies. With the Nebrew Pro 3.0 hearing aid, he could simply place this tiny device in his ear canal, where it would cut out annoying background noise and boost human speech frequencies, especially the high-frequency letters like S, F, and T that he had lost. And that was all it took for him to hear clearly again. Even better, he could buy them for under $100 when he found a discount, so he could afford it even without insurance. With a 120-day money-back guarantee and some of the most helpful customer support he'd ever had, he was back to himself again. Meeting friends for dinner, playing with his grandkids, chatting happily with strangers. That's the story of the Nebrew Pro 3.0. Come start yours with a 70% discount today.
What a beautiful pass! Quarterback, the greatest names in the game, playing the toughest position in all of sports. When the doors open to the 21st century, will the last draft of the 20th century forever make its mark? They have gathered in the Big Apple, the biggest of the players, all the NFL teams and fans of all 31, to join us here at the theater. And the quarterbacks, 5 of them may go before halfway through the first round. We've never had that before. And the running back after the QBs, the other issue, Ricky Williams, the 6,000-yard Heisman Trophy winner. Where does he go? We'll find that out here today and tomorrow as ESPN begins our coverage of the 64th annual selection meeting which in English is known as the NFL Draft. Hi, I'm Chris Berman. We are here in New York, we are in Bristol, and we are everywhere. We will be able to go to 8 different NFL cities during the course of the draft. It sounds like a Chuck Berry song. They're really rocking in Cleveland and Miami FLA, in New England, and Indianapolis, a hot spot. New England wants to trade, and Seattle for the beginning of the Mike Holmgren era. Minnesota, New Orleans, will Mike Ditka pull the biggest of all draft day deals, and the Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos. We will video conference with just about everywhere else in the NFL. Basically, if you have a Rand McNally Atlas of the United States, we have got you covered for this draft. And not only do we have you covered on our coverage today and tomorrow, 17 hours worth, you can keep up on ESPN News, ESPN.com if you have the skills, and ESPN Radio. Welcome here to New York, where the Cleveland Browns are on the clock. We had some drama last night, and that their man, Tim Couch, quarterback Kentucky, could they get a deal done? In the wee hours of the morning, there was a breakthrough, and in a few moments we expect to hear Tim Couch, #1 pick. But it wasn't that simple. Let's go out to an excited Cleveland Browns headquarters to join our Sal Palantonio. Not a lot of sleep there last night, Sal.
Well, Chris, what happened was that Tom Condon, the chief negotiator for IMG, who represents Tim Couch, got wind that the chief negotiator for the Browns, Lyle Hennigan, was talking to Akili Smith's agent, Lee Steinberg. This was about 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock last night when Condon was out having dinner with Tim Couch. So he rushed over to Hennigan's room in the same hotel, the Millennium downtown there, and he got there at about 11:30. I actually called up Hennigan's room to find out what was going on with the negotiations, and Tom Condon answered the telephone. And so it was pretty heavy negotiation until about 4 hours, until about 3 in the morning, but they finally reached an agreement in principle on a 7-year deal worth $48 million. There's a $12.25 million signing bonus up front. It's the highest to any rookie in NFL history. With incentives, the deal could reach $59.4 million. It's a big deal for Tim Couch. It's a big deal for the city of Cleveland. The #1 pick of the new Cleveland Browns will be Kentucky quarterback Tim Couch, Chris.
Well, Sal, out of deference to the owner, Al Lerner, who is here in New York for this historic day, this historic pick, they may have got the deal done at 3, but they didn't want to wake him up till about 7 or 7:30 to get the okay. So, you know, when you own the team, you get to sleep through the night a little bit, but it is done, and Tim Couch is here in New York. So is Ricky Williams, and we expect quarterbacks to go 1, Donavan McNabb 2 to Philadelphia, probably Akili Smith 3 to Cincinnati. Then the fun may begin at the 4 spot, Indianapolis. Traded Marshall Faulk a couple of days ago to the St. Louis Rams. Who will run the ball? Is it Ricky Williams? Is it someone else? Do they do something else with their #4 pick? Very interesting indeed. Sean Salisbury is at Colts headquarters in Indianapolis. What's the latest there, Sean?
Chris, there's a lot going on. First and foremost, with the trade of Marshall Faulk to the St. Louis Rams, everybody assumed that paved the way to get the obvious pick would be Ricky Williams, running back from Texas. But don't be so sure about that. This football team, when you talk about Marshall Faulk, said it would have been a distraction in training camp because he was going to hold out guaranteed because all the money he wanted. So they had to look elsewhere. When you talk about the players that are out there for them, you go into a meeting room, and it's all about emotion in this draft. You talk to Polian, you talk to Jim Mora, you mention the players, and they kind of go through the pluses and minuses. You talk about Georgia cornerback Champ Bailey, and they go crazy. They are in love with this kid. You'd think that it was their child. And remember, Bill Polian and Jim Mora both have built defenses wherever they've been. Don't be surprised if that Georgia corner is right here in Indianapolis today. Let's go out to Ed Werder in New Orleans.
Well, Sean, as you know, the Saints have no real reason to trust that the Colts are going to pass on Ricky Williams at 4 to take Champ Bailey. Now, Mike Ditka tells me that he's got a tentative agreement in place, if that does happen, to go ahead and make a trade with Washington for the 12th pick for the 5th spot, move up, get Ricky Williams there. But they're not content with that. They're still exploring possibilities of moving in front of the Colts. They've talked to Cincinnati this morning. Cincinnati's, as Mike Ditka put it, their request was outrageous. They want all of the Saints' top picks this year, plus their first rounder through the year 2002. Chris, Mike Ditka says he's not willing to pay that.
This is the perfect pair for your iPhone, and it replaces 3 different chargers. This is the Ridge Magnetic Power Bank. It snaps on with MagSafe, so no cables, no guessing. 20-watt fast charging, 10,000 milliamp hours, and just locks in. This is what I mean by smart everyday carry. So when I travel, I don't pack extra cables, I don't have to pack extra bricks. This covers my phone, my watch, and anything USB Type-C. It's probably the most useful thing in my travel bag. It even has built-in USB Type-C and lightning cables. So if someone next to me needs to charge, I got it. And it charges your Apple Watch too. One device, 5 ways to charge. This is also one of those rare tech gifts that actually makes sense. Everyone runs out of battery, everyone forgets a charger. This solves both, it's practical, it's clean, and it actually gets used. Here's a smart move. If you grab 3, you save even more. One for your bag, one for your desk, one for someone else, or one for you, one for your partner, one for a gift. One of those things you end up wishing you had in multiple places anyway.
Well, Mike is ready still, Ed, to make a deal that we have never really had on draft day. But it will all unravel here in the next 17 hours, 10 hours today, 7 hours tomorrow. Mel, your top 5 picks, if everything was equal, you would go running back, wouldn't you?
I would. Ricky Williams, I think, is going to be a franchise back. Chris Edgerrin James on his heels. Chris Claiborne can play middle linebacker or on the outside. And Champ Bailey, we know about that tremendous versatility he'll provide an offense and a defense.
You know, I didn't give you the proper drum roll. Mel Kiper, Joe Theismann working with me, as always, in a cast of thousands. The commissioner will open it.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the National Football League's 64th Annual College Player Draft. We want to thank all of you fans here for being with us in New York, and we also want to thank the millions of fans around the country who are watching ESPN's 20th telecast of the NFL Draft. Today, the first selection choice belongs to the Cleveland Browns, who are now on the clock.
Well, the crowd is certainly revved up here now. Joe Theismann, you've scattered all these quarterbacks. Yep. Tim Couch, Akili Smith, even the other ones, McNown, Culpepper, and Donavan McNabb. You making the pick, where do you go?
Well, first of all, Chris, let me just say this. Every one of the quarterbacks has something that they're going to need to work on as they get ready to play in the National Football League. Tim Couch, as you look at his statistics, has an advantage because he's played a lot more football than Akili Smith. Akili Smith, probably a lot more natural athlete. And the quarterback position now has become one where they're looking for a lot more athletes. But I got to be honest with you, if I was going to take one, I would probably have taken Cade McNown from UCLA, only because I think his technical skills are the best of any quarterback in this particular draft.
Mel, that's because he likes the short quarterback, see?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't buy that. I think you would trade down if you were interested in Cade.
No, I wouldn't.
Not take him at the
We're
top
going to start
spot.
this already.
Joe. Yes, we will.
We just started this thing here.
Well, it's early, but we'll start. Tim Couch, I think an outstanding quarterback prospect. Talk about the run and shoot. He adjusted to Hal Mumme when he got there. He had been throwing the football tremendously well in high school, whipping it around the field. Then he went to a run and shoot type attack, two-step drop, get the ball off quickly. You see the ball placement up around the ear. He's already dropped that during that second workout with Chris Palmer. So he's already made the necessary adjustments. Talked to Tim yesterday. He is putting the ball accurately with more velocity than he had since his high school days. 36 points per game with a hardwood in high school. He really utilizes that ability in terms of accuracy on the football field. And I look at Tim Couch, 6'4", 225, tremendous escapability. Watch him escape here, vision down the field, accurately deliver the football. I think that's what's underrated about Couch is this athleticism that he brings to the quarterback position, as well as the enthusiasm. He's kind of mild-mannered off the field, low-key. When he puts the pads on, he turns up the intensity dial. Watch him here throw across his body to create yeast in the end zone. Here, whip a strike in the end zone for a touchdown to yeast again. Watch him throw across his body here against Penn State for the touchdown. Questionable arm strength. Think again. Tim Couch now feels like he is throwing the ball and is more comfortable than he's ever been. Look at that completion percentage. That's where the accuracy comes in. And he did this, Chris, against SEC competition, against some of the best athletes in the country. Tim Couch, to me, has a chance to be a superlative NFL quarterback.
Well, 36 touchdowns, 15 interceptions last year, 72% you mentioned, almost 4,300 yards. Joe, there was a little question on the way he throws, but when you look at these guys over and over, are we being nitpickers?
Yeah, we certainly are, Chris. And if I'm going to spend $27 million on somebody, I'm going to nitpick. I'm going to nitpick by nitpicking. You have to look at him very closely. The reason I looked at Tim Couch as close as I did is I was uncomfortable with his grip. He has his index finger up real high on the ball. That causes him to palm the ball a little bit more and not really get the pop on it. When you look at the release, you look at the revolutions, the ball just looks like it just hangs in the air with a little bit of a wobble. And then here, you can count the revolutions when he releases the ball into the flat. This is a total of 5 revolutions, and the ball travels some 20 yards. That is not efficient nor sufficient enough to be able to go out and throw the ball well. Had a chance to sit with him last night. He's changed his grip. The picture on your right screen shows what he used to do where he didn't use the laces. And now you see him move his fingers back a little bit so that his pinky is on the laces. He's able to get more revolutions on the ball, therefore making it a tighter spiral and a harder throw.
You talk about 5 revolutions. I got American, French, and Russian. What are the other 2 revolutions?
The other 2, I'm going to come up with the other 2.
All right. Well, we delve through the history books. There are some hot spots, certainly below where the quarterbacks are being selected. Maybe as early as the 3rd pick, Cincinnati. Hot spots, hot buttons. Who better to discuss it? Mike Tirico, Chris Mortensen. Fellas?
All right, Chris, thank you. If more decisions are made at 1 and 2, is Cincinnati fielding offers, and what are they thinking about trading the number 3 pick? We heard Ed talk about.
Well, as Ed Werder mentioned, yes, Cincinnati is talked with the New Orleans Saints, but they have also made an outrageous demand of the Saints. And here's what's going to happen. Right now, they are pretty much sold on their number 1 quarterback, Akili Smith. They will listen to New Orleans one last time if the Saints want to call. When they're on the clock, I think they're taking Akili Smith.
If that's a tepid spot, then we've got the really hot spots where people are talking deal. Sean alluded to it at number 4.
Well, Ricky Williams right now holds the key, at least to the drama, I think, in this draft, and that is whether the Colts take him or not, and whether the Saints deal with Washington Redskins. Then it becomes really fluid at 6 with St. Louis and Chicago, and a couple other trades to talk about here. Quarterback deals. The Ravens have got a deal in the works for Tony Banks from St. Louis. Then the Ravens will deal Eric Zaire to Tampa Bay. This concerns Daunte Culpepper and all those things. Oakland tried to trade up to get Daunte Culpepper.
The headline story, though, from 4 to 11 could be deals done.
That's right. We got some fun then.
Hot spots to watch for sure. Boom.
All right, guys. Well, we could have the 5 quarterbacks as early as the 10 spot, 11, or certainly by 15. That has never happened before in the history of the NFL draft. History-making day. We'll be back.
So we're flying over the Persian Gulf at night. I'm the new guy in the co-pilot seat, the aircraft commander, Rebecca Bennett. Rebecca will take on all the Trump corruption and end Trump's reckless wars that are driving prices. She has the courage to lead this fight.
Secret is MVP Asia Wilson's go-to antiperspirant. It's earned Allure's Best of Beauty Award 3 years running.
I wonder if anyone's ever won it 4 times. No pressure. Secret, fresher under pressure.
The new Acura RL has distinctive styling to appeal to your elegant side. A performance-tuned suspension to satisfy your assertive side. And a sophisticated front and side airbag system to protect both sides. The new RL from Acura.
This is great. I get fired on national TV.
No, that could be worse.
How could it possibly be worse, Frank?
I think it just got worse.
And now, Budweiser's replacement for Louis the Lizard.
No.
The Ferret!
This is not going to be good for my blood pressure.
He's good.
Don't encourage him, Frank.
Hi, I'm Troy Aikman of the Dallas Cowboys. The NFL and the United Way this season are celebrating 25 years of working together to help our neighbors in need. Over the years, hundreds of NFL owners, coaches, and players have volunteered their time to work with United Way agencies and programs that show our caring for people in need. By working together, the NFL and the United Way are making a difference. The NFL, the United Way and you, the power of teamwork.
The Cleveland Browns. Great history. And history resumed here in 1999. The Browns are on the clock, and there is the look inside the war room. Carmen Policy, the dapperly dressed Carmen Policy, would expect nothing less. The vice president, GM, and former hero in San Francisco, now hopefully hero in Cleveland, Dwight Clark, is in there in the Browns. Of course, not a lot of suspense, but they have 13 picks throughout the day. We will go there early and often. Will this class of 99 be similar to the class of 1983, in which John Elway was drafted, you forget, by Baltimore, but of course, by the end of the day, he was traded, and the rest was history. Todd Blackledge by the Chiefs was the next pick that year. Look at the youngster, Jim Kelly by the Bills, but he was playing the USFL. Tony Eason led the Patriots to a Super Bowl. Ken O'Brien had a good career with the Jets, and some guy named Marino, the sixth quarterback taken in 1983. He's had a decent career with the Miami Dolphins. Elway, Marino, and maybe Jimbo, Hall of Famers from that draft. So the question, does this draft in 1999 compare to that draft in 1983? You can only grade on the way they came out. How does it shape up at this time, though?
Numbers-wise, it compares. I think mobility-wise, this group in 1999 has the edge. I think pure passing ability coming from pro-style attack, the 83 class had the edge. And how much that will translate into these quarterbacks needing some time to develop, we'll have to find out. And, Joe, I think that's the big question. Will this group be able to come in? They're force-fed now in the NFL. How quickly will these quarterbacks have an impact in the NFL?
I don't care about the 83 class. What about the 71 class? When you had Plunkett, you had Manning, you had Pastorini. Oh, by the way, they went 1, 2, 3 in the draft. There also happened to be a fourth-round pick by the name of Theismann that played in that particular class. Not that I'm prejudiced about it one bit, but I do think that, and Mel alluded to it, that the biggest difference in this group of young men coming out is the thing that you have to stress and look at is their athletic ability. Every one of them has exceptional athletic ability, and they have to play against the defenses today in the National Football League. Everybody wants the quarterback to be able to move around, slide in a pocket, make plays. Every one of these quarterbacks has that ability, but every one of them has a lot of things that they have to work on before they can get to the level where you can call them bona fide stars in the National Football League.
The guy that was drafted in 71 was Theismann, wasn't it?
That's right. It was Theismann, actually.
Yeah, but it was still a debate. I think it was Theismann. Boy, Mike, Jim Kelly was a young pup once upon a time. That was an interesting picture, wasn't it?
It certainly was. He has 101 wins in the class of 83's total. Class of 83, by the way, 160 games over 500 as NFL starters. Is this class better? What's the biggest difference?
I think the biggest difference is the athletic ability of these quarterbacks. I mean, you look at all the Daunte Culpepper, runs a 4.6, 4.5, I mean, 250 pounds. They have the mobility to make the play on the run. The class of 83, more of a pocket-style passers. Dan Marino, John Elway, yes, he could get around. Myself, pretty much like to stay in the pocket, but that's the biggest difference, probably the athletic ability and them being able to make things happen on the run.
Project for me as we look at the production of this class. Will they be better than you guys when it all's said and done? They put up great numbers in their college days, just like you guys did, but look at these pro numbers you guys put up.
You can't compare that. 484 wins amongst us. Maybe 6-7 years from now, maybe you'll be able to say something about that. But 11 Super Bowls, 484 wins.
Only Kenny with 50-59 record was the only one of that group under 500 for his career. More from Jim and Boomer Esiason later on. Now back to Boomer Berman.
That was quite a class that's made its mark on the NFL for 2 decades. And now let's go up to the commissioner for the
first pick
the new Cleveland
in the 1999 draft. The Cleveland Browns selection is from the University of Kentucky, quarterback Tim Couch.
This is a young man from a town of 350, Hyden, Kentucky, coal mining town in southeastern Kentucky. The nearest movie theater is 25 miles away. The nearby towns, his dad, Albert, is from Thousand Sticks, Kentucky. Held for Certain, Kentucky is right down the road. Hazard, Kentucky is right down the road.
Now, the second pick in the
1999 Tim Couch has proven himself at the University of Kentucky. He's made everyone in the community and the state proud, and now he is the first player selected ever by the Cleveland Browns. It's a wild ride, but you know, I think he has his feet on the ground. We spoke with him a little bit last night. And by the way, welcome back to the NFL.
Today, he is currently the head coach of the Chiefs.
Every small business owner has a monster to-do list.
And as your business grows, it grows.
That's fair.
Progressive makes it easy to get a quick commercial auto quote online so you can get back to all your other to-dos. See if you can save money at progressivecommercial.com.
Welcome back to Yankee Stadium. There's the drive. The big one. Cole strike three. And the Yankees are going to the postseason. Oh, what a night for Bellinger. That one is gone in every park. The Yankees win.
Very much so. It'd be good to see the new dog pound again. Tim Couch in Cleveland. And they have Ty Detmer there, so the pressure is not for him to play right away, guys.
No, it's not. And I think, and Joe, we can get to how quickly he'll be ready. But I look at Tim Couch, and it gets back to Akili Smith just about 2-3 weeks ago, moving ahead of Tim Couch after that first workout. Chris Palmer challenging Tim Couch. During that second workout last Sunday, Tim Couch responded, showed Chris Palmer exactly what he wanted to see. They altered the delivery, they altered the grip, and Tim Couch went out, Joe, and had an outstanding workout. And that showed Chris Palmer that he had the kind of quarterback he wants to go to war with, not for just next year or the year after, but for about 10 years.
Keep in mind, he is a junior coming out, so that means he's going to grow, he's going to mature. I think probably one of the things that impressed Chris Palmer as much as anything, when he did change his grip, it made a difference in the way he threw the football. It made a difference for Tim Couch on how he felt like he could throw the football. Just making minor adjustments to a quarterback and getting results is something very positive for a coach to look at.
The young man from Hyden, Kentucky, selected by the Cleveland Browns. We have a series of pieces throughout the draft that we know as In the Crosshairs. Let's get to know Tim Couch.
I'm Tim Couch, University of Kentucky. You know, it was kind of like Mayberry on the Andy Griffith Show. You know, everybody knew everybody. We got, you know, one cop, one stoplight, a couple restaurants, and, you know, it's just your typical small town. The big advantage for me was I didn't have anything to do all day long but throw football. I just wanted to go somewhere that, you know, kind of a road less traveled that a lot of people didn't take, and, you know, all the top recruits were going to these big name schools and stuff, and I just said, you know, hey, I'm going to do something different for a change. Fortunate for me, they brought in Coach Mummy. He brings in this system that, you know, is perfect for me. And I got receivers around me. I got a big offensive line protecting me, and things just fell into place for me.
I don't believe what I just saw!
Having dinner with Joe Montana was, you know, really unbelievable. That was, you know, my childhood hero. You know, a guy, you know, you sit there and eat dinner with him, and all these plays he made are, you know, flashing through my mind. You know, the catch, the slant he threw against the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. All those plays are going through your mind when you first meet him. I watched the guys like Montana and Marino and Elway and those guys growing up. It, you know, really just made you dream a lot as a little kid and something to work for. I just got to go learn a new offense. You know, once I get that offense in, you know, in my mind where it comes second nature like the offense at Kentucky was, where I'm not out there thinking through things. I'm just, you know, bam, 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 making my reads, progressions. I think, you know, I'm going to adjust fine, and I think I got the, you know, the talent's just going to naturally come through.
Well, Tim Couch stays in the Midwest. You have to drive through Daniel Boone National Forest to get to Hyden, Kentucky, which also, this is interesting, was the site of the first post-resignation speech by Richard Nixon. I'm not sure why it was there, but for Tim Couch today, to borrow from Nixon, he is the president, at least in Cleveland. The Philadelphia Eagles with their fans, who are many here. Is it Donavan McNabb? We sure think so. We'll talk about who's coming up in New York in a moment.
I'm on ESPN Insider. For me, it's like the inside connection. You know, one of my big interests is baseball. You know, because I played baseball when I was in high school. Played JV. I was a senior on the JV. But, you know, my coach said that for the program, that's where I was going to be best used, and I'm a team player. And, you know, at the end of the year, I had a cup of coffee with the varsity.
I've won my share of races, but I didn't do it alone. It takes a great team. The Slick 50 is a part of my team. I'm one of the millions of people who rely on it.
Now there's Slick 50 Synchron Synthetic Engine Treatment with a 100,000-mile limited warranty and pour-and-drive convenience.
It's hard to beat Slick 50. I count on that.
Slick 50 Synchron Synthetic, the next generation of engine treatments.
And for peak performance, use Slick 50 Synchron Synthetic Fuel System Treatment.
Getting the opportunity to be in Jerry Maguire, that was a real thrill. Quite a few of us auditioned for parts.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
You complete me. You complete me.
Help me help you.
Who's coming with me?
Who's coming with me? Let's go.
Who's coming with me?
There were a couple of performances that really surprised them.
You had me at hello. You had me at hello.
We are back in New York. Now, the Jets don't draft till late in the second round, but there's a team of green here in full force. Those are the Eagles fans who are making their last pitch for the Eagles to draft Ricky Williams and not quarterback Donavan McNabb. More on that in a moment, but Cleveland has made their pick. Let's go out now to Sal Palantonio with the president, Carmen Policy. Sal?
Well, that's right. I'm with one of your good friends, Carmen Policy. And Carmen, it was a long, arduous process to pick the right guy. Why did you go with Tim Couch?
Well, we loved everything we learned about him. And when you talk about what he can do on the field, I think all of your listeners and viewers have been exposed through ESPN coverage as to how qualified and how talented he is. But off the field, he displayed so much character and
Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast Gems. It's an exquisite mousse pâté crowned with savory gravy for a truly marvelous mealtime experience. Fancy Feast Gems. Love is in the details.
And he's such a solid human being. And when we saw how coachable he was, especially during that workout in Lexington, Kentucky, at the University of Kentucky, I mean, all of us got blown away by that. And I think that's what really pushed Chris Palmer over the line.
You took great pains to get him to come to an agreement before you decided to put in the selection. Why was that important to you?
It's important because we needed our leader on the field committed to the Browns the moment he became a Brown. We could not tolerate, even for 20 seconds, any kind of an interruption or disruption of his focus, and God forbid that there would even be a one-day holdout. We needed this commitment to this organization to send a message to everyone else who's going to be part of this team.
Thanks a lot, Carmen. Looks like they've got their guy, Tim Couch, the Kentucky quarterback, the new pick of the Cleveland Browns. Chris?
And there's the official reaction a few moments ago by the Cleveland Browns and Coach Chris Palmer. There's Carmen right there, so you can uncork the wine. Carmen, who knows his way around a wine list, certainly at the end of this draft will have 13 picks, but he knows now number one, Tim Couch. So, now on the clock, the Philadelphia Eagles and their new regime, quarterback guru, late of the staff of Mike Holmgren, Andy Reid. Eagles in the 90s started out fine. Randall Cunningham, they were contenders, of course, at least, playoff team a couple of times. Never quite got over the hump to get going in the playoffs. Remember, the Fog Bowl was one of them. Then Rodney Peete and Ty Detmer, who's now at Cleveland. Last year, Bobby Hoying, and they tried Jim McMahon. Basically, they're a team in search of an offense, because their offense last year for a 3-13 team was anemic. However, Andy Reid and Tom Modrak, it was reported that maybe they were differing on who they liked. Not the case. They agree it's Donavan McNabb. And one of the things they like is that he's started for 4 years at Syracuse. The pick is coming in. Let's go up to the commissioner, make it official. And the Eagles fans are hoping running back. We'll see.
With the second pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select Donavan McNabb, quarterback, Syracuse University.
This is the biggest non-New York contingent we have ever had. And now the Giants and Eagles fans are going, you know what? The season is underway here in late April.
It kicked off awfully early. I mean, the Eagles were genuinely, the fans are irate over the fact that they didn't take Ricky Williams. But you have to, I hope the fans don't take it out on Donavan McNabb.
No, they better not.
They really better not, because he's a young man who has the opportunity to be able to come in and I think really make an impact on the Eagles on offense. He has the athletic ability of a Randall Cunningham. He has the size and poise in the pocket of a Rodney Peete. I think you take a combination like that and give him a chance to grow under Andy Reid, you're going to have yourself a fine young quarterback. His athletic ability is the thing that stands out the most in my mind.
We're going to show these highlights in a minute, but now let me just say this. In talking with Andy Reid yesterday, he says, hey, I know a beer offense, there's some things different than the pros, but a lot of the reads and a lot of the turns that he makes on throwing are similar to the West Coast offense that they will run, and that helps sell them on him.
A lot of progressions, Chris. I think when you look at Donavan McNabb, as Joe said, the athleticism, you watch him run the option and play against some top teams along the way. Look at those career passing yards, touchdown passes. Very productive player. He makes plays on the football. Here against Tennessee early in the year, running the option for the touchdown. So he has that ability to create. You look at his escape skills when he has to drop back. Not only escape, but look at the vision. Look at the eyes. He's looking down the field, spots that third, fourth option, and accurately delivers the football. This is against Michigan. Watch the scramble again. Avoid, create. There you go. I mean, that is special, and I think that's the difference between the Donavan McNabb and some of the other pocket passers that come along. Look at the deep arm strength. There's Kevin Johnson. He could be a late first, early second-round pick. Here again, throwing back. Stephen Brominski. This won the football game against Virginia Tech. This is the difference between Donavan McNabb. The escapability, Chris. And I think when you look at Tom Modrak coming over to the Philadelphia Eagles along with Andy Reid, Tom Modrak, a tremendous history of success with Tom Donahoe in Pittsburgh, helped orchestrate a lot of those key drafts when they were losing free agents. They made up for it. Philadelphia Eagles had some terrible drafts along the way. I think that's going to change with Tom Modrak and Andy Reid in control of the Philadelphia Eagles organization.
Last year, 22 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. This is... Boy, I tell you what, the mayor came out a few days ago. This is today's Philadelphia Daily News. The mayor came out a couple days ago and said, you know, we should draft Ricky Williams, the running back. Call the Eagles and tell them. And it blew out the phones at the Eagles headquarters for about 3 or 4 hours. But, Joe, you said something that's most accurate. Fans, Donavan McNabb is a 4-year starter in college. One of the reasons Brett Favre was able to play so well so quickly was that he had 4 years of starting at Southern Miss. And that experience will go in a big way to help Donavan McNabb be a major contributor for a long time for the Eagles. And don't take it out on him. He's an exciting player, a great athlete.
You're absolutely right, Chris. There's one thing I want to talk about as far as him working in Syracuse. In Syracuse, the type of offense they ran, it forced people to play a lot of man-to-man coverage against them. In doing so, he threw a lot of man-to-man routes. I got to be perfectly honest with you. If I get a young quarterback coming out of college who's worked against man-to-man coverage, I think that's a big plus. I think anybody can come out of college and throw the ball for 500 yards a game against zones. That's easy to teach. Throwing the ball against man-to-man coverage is something more difficult. But I like the way Donavan McNabb has been able to put his package together as a quarterback and do the things that he needs to do. First of all, he has excellent ball position. You see the ball up high right there. That's excellent position for a ball, standing nice and tall in the pocket. Now, as he moves around and scrambles around, he shows the athletic ability. Here he is on the move, resets the ball to the same identical position, which allows him to throw the ball with accuracy. He's a little stiff in his drop back. I'd like to see him work the ball a little bit more, and he takes that hand off the ball. That he has to learn to do.
Even when your room is 80 degrees, your bed can be 55. That's the Pod, a cooling cover that fits over your current mattress. It cools with water, not air, circulated through thin tubes to keep your body at the perfect temperature. Where other beds trap heat, the Pod removes it. The result? A 32% improvement in sleep quality, proven in clinical studies. What used to be hot 3 a.m. wake-ups is now steady, cooling comfort. Start sleeping cooler at 8sleep.com.
Hang on to the ball a little bit long for protection. He makes himself small when he gets back in the pocket. What I mean is he drops down so low, you're going to get down where you're going to lose sight of defensive backs. Those are some of the things that are very easily correctable by a quarterback. It's the athletic ability, the arm strength, the intangibles that I really believe is going to make him exceptional. I think he has a terrific upside, Chris. I really do.
For the third time in the 90s, this year, last year, of course, with Manning and Leaf, and in 93 with Bledsoe and Meyer, quarterbacks 1-2. Mortimer, Donavan McNabb, certainly a lot of experience as a starter.
Well, and that's right. And here's what went into some of the thought process as it pertains to Donavan McNabb with the Andy Reid, the new Philadelphia coach. Remember, this is a quarterback-driven offense. And Andy Reid really sees some of Brett Favre and Donavan McNabb. That's credentials enough. He thinks he's by far the best athlete in the draft, even better than Champ Bailey. He thinks he can play 4 skill positions in the NFL. And not only that, but the offense, this West Coast offense, the #1 pass play, hey, we talk about the option, is the play action. It's the sprint, draw, fake, blast. And that's exactly what he thinks McNabb will do. And he's also going to make this very much a character draft, and McNabb, Chris, falls right in line with that.
Well, Donavan McNabb, as you mentioned, an outstanding athlete. And they have Doug Peterson there, who's almost like a quarterback, but also kind of like a coach in this offense. Will McNabb start right away? Probably not. Will he start at all this year? They'll have to wait and see. But they're going to be patient with him, give him a chance to look, and then give him a chance to contribute. Solomon Wilcots, former Bengal, our colleague, is in New England right now for a hot spot, but your former team, Solomon, on the clock, Cincinnati. Do they take Akili Smith? Are they fielding offers? What do you think?
Well, Chris, they are listening to everyone. They're sitting idly by, and they're taking all the calls. But I just got off the phone, and I talked with people with the Cincinnati Bengals, and they told me that they would prefer to stay put and use that 3rd pick. Now, with Donavan McNabb gone, with Tim Couch gone, I look for the Bengals to take Akili Smith. They like his strong arm and his accuracy, Chris.
Well, there's no question, Solomon, that he has a major league arm. The question on Akili, he hasn't played that much. It's one of the most meteoric rises in the history of the NFL draft. Akili's on the phone. Is Mike Brown at the other end? We'll be back.
You know what I call this?
Dancing.
No, it's the collect call with 1-800-CALLATT. It's easy. You just dial right down the center of the phone. CALLATT. I got super freaking moves.
Dance to it, just don't quit. Move that body, girl. You be the ultimate. Put your hands in the sky and do that dance. Show
Strong.
Excuse me?
Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT for guaranteed cheap collect calls. That's right. Feel it in your center.
Some people call it retirement planning. I think of this as future construction. Year by year, block by block, until... It's our dream house.
Beautiful. But I was hoping we could afford to travel.
This plan can help make it happen. We can even make sure you've got worry-free income for life.
AXA, dynamic vision, equitable, a trusted resource. Call us. Equitable is a member of the global AXA Group.
Sports Century's 50 Greatest Athletes, a year-long celebration. Number 39, Walter Payton. Friday at 10:30 on ESPN. Presented by General Motors.
The Bengals will not entertain trade offers. The pick is in. Let's go to the podium.
With the 3rd choice, the Cincinnati Bengals select Akili Smith, quarterback, University of Oregon. The Indianapolis Colts are now on the clock.
Akili Smith, a duck, trying to follow in the footsteps of Oregon quarterbacks like Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. A rocket arm who skyrocketed up the charts in the NFL draft like not only no quarterback, but maybe like no player we have seen in 1 year, Mel.
No question about it, Chris. He was basically an undrafted free agent when the season started, moved way up the draft board into the 2nd round, then into the 1st round, then into the mid-1st round. Then he was even being discussed a couple weeks ago as maybe the #1 pick overall. You watch Akili Smith. the tight spiral, the RPM, and the productivity this year. Remember, they call him a one-year wonder. He put it all together this season. Watch this ball. Look at that release. Look at that tight spiral and the zip on the football. Unbelievable arm strength. John Elway, Burt Jones type arm strength. That's what Akili Smith possesses. And I think that's the difference with Akili Smith. The arm strength there, the mobility as well. Watch him here against Michigan State. Not only avoid, but then have the sense to spot that receiver open in the end zone. Here again, the mobility and the speed. He's out racing defensive
Now, the
backs
fourth
to
pick
end
in the
zone here. So you're
1999
talking about
NFL
a
draft
special
was
athlete
actually
who
the
this
first
year,
running back
watch the
taken,
touch
and
coming
the
up on
next
this
pick after
backfield.
this would
This
be
is
another
something he
running
could
back
not
in the
do as a
famous draft
junior.
day
He
trade
did
that
as a
happened.
senior.
Everybody thought
Especially
that
late
there
in
would
the
be a
year.
different
Over the
running
last
back
4 games, and
prospect
watch the
being
accuracy
selected
here.
but it was
Over the
actually
last 4
a
games,
different one, and they would go on to
after
be a Hall of
Reuben
Famer
Drones, their
playing
fine running back, was injured. Akili Smith threw 13 touchdown passes.
So we're flying over the Persian Gulf at night. I'm the new guy in the co-pilot seat, the aircraft commander, Rebecca Bennett. Rebecca will take on all the Trump corruption and end Trump's reckless wars that are driving prices. She has the courage to lead this fight.
One interception. He carried that team on his shoulder. He matured a great deal, put those off-the-field problems behind him. Remember, he played 3 years in baseball in the minor league organization with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think when you look at Akili Smith, I talked to him last night, seems like he's really excited. Yes. He feels like he came out of nowhere. He just wants the opportunity to compete for a starting job in the NFL. And I tell you, what a meteoric rise from an undrafted free agent at the beginning of the year to maybe, you know, you're talking about even a #1 pick, now the #3 pick to Cincinnati.
Well, we talked about the Oregon pedigree with Fouts, and he's now the 12th quarterback to go to the NFL. High school in San Diego that produced Terrell Davis and Marcus Allen. So there's pretty good, at least pedigree there, at least if you're looking at it from horse lines. More on Akili in a moment. So quarterbacks have gone 1, 2, 3. The second pick, Donavan McNabb, is the first choice in the new regime of the Philadelphia Eagles. Joining us now on the Sprint video conference from Philadelphia is the new head coach, and we'd like to introduce him to everybody, Andy Reid, who is a key part of the Packers' success under Mike Holmgren and the tutelage of Brett Favre. Well, Andy, welcome. You've got your man, and this is a guy that a lot of people said you'd have to scratch your head. Who would you pick? You were very much decided on why Donavan McNabb, correct?
I sure was. Yes, Boomer. I felt very strong about him. What a fine person we're getting, and likewise a fine football player.
Andy, we discussed on the phone, you and I, that the type of offense that he had at Syracuse is in some ways similar to the West Coast offense that you will run. Will you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, Chris, I'll tell you what, it really is. I had an opportunity to break down the film on Donovan and pull out plays, number one, that I felt were timing routes that might fit into the West Coast offense. One where he came back, he had to anticipate what the defense was going to do and then make the play. I thought he did that with tremendous accuracy. He was able to keep his eyes down the field, do some of the things that we want him to do in this West Coast system.
Andy, is there pressure to play? I mean, not quite yet, but what is a timetable? I know we're sitting in April. The timetable for him to play and for him to start. Do you see it late this year? Do you see it this year at all? Do you see it right away? What are you thinking right now? I know it's April.
Well, Chris, that's a little bit of the crystal ball theory. I brought Doug Peterson in here to play football for me, and I did that with a plan in mind. Not only does Doug come in and give me a security blanket from the quarterback position, but he also is a person that can help teach Donovan the ins and outs of this offense. And Doug will come in and be the #1 quarterback and give Donovan an opportunity to learn.
Good luck in Philadelphia. We know we'll be hearing from you later again today. You've got your guy, and hey, these fans will turn around here in New York. I'll work on them, all right?
No, I understand that. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. Take care, fellas.
All right, Andy. Andy Reid, who will really, it'll be interesting to see how that Eagles offense develops in that West Coast style. Back to Akili Smith. Mel. Last year at this time, where was he? Was he in this book? The Mel Kiper draft report? I mean, was he in here?
He was barely. He was a co-starter, of course, as a junior with Jason Moss, who will probably be a late-rounder undrafted free agent. Look at the quarterbacks. Daunte Culpepper, a huge grade going into the year. Ted White at Howard could be a 3rd or 4th round pick. Nice grade. Cade McNown, Joe's favorite, a 54. That's a nice grade for him. Michael Bishop, who may change positions. See Chad Salisbury from the University of Buffalo. Mike Cook, William and Mary. Jason Vandermaat, Alma, all on the same level of Akili Smith. So you can see where he came from to get to this point where he's the number 3 pick overall. And Joe, I tell you what, you talk about a meteoric rise up the charts. None other than Akili Smith, probably in the history of the NFL draft.
It really was. And I had a chance to talk to Jeff Tedford, his offensive coordinator and his quarterback coach at Oregon. The thing that impressed me about him is Jeff said we worked real hard on his pocket skills, and you could see him respond to that. They work real hard on him studying and learning and understanding what it takes to be a quarterback, more than just the athletic part of it. He understood that. Having a chance to sit and visit with him last night, I asked him about Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. I said, what did you learn from last year? He said, I heard Peyton put those tapes in his car right away, started studying. Those are the things that I'm going to need to do to get everybody's confidence on this football team. So the lessons of last year's quarterbacks have carried over to this year's quarterbacks. They know how hard they're going to have to study and work. And he's a young man who proved he can dedicate himself to becoming a better football player. You always like to see a guy, Chris, continue to improve and improve. This is a kid who made up his mind and has done it.
The quarterbacks have gone, and now, as Paul Harvey would say, we begin to have the rest of the story. This, you would think, with Indianapolis, may be the spot for a running back. You would think it would be Ricky Williams. And Sean Salisbury's, we got to Indianapolis. You told us at the beginning of the draft, maybe Ricky, maybe Edgerrin James, maybe Champ Bailey. If I'm the Colts, I got to think about a back, but it may not be the back that everybody's thinking of. It might be Edgerrin James. What are you hearing?
I'll tell you, Boomer, they like both of those backs. One they like better outside James, Ricky Williams inside. But let's not just focus on offense. Yeah, Marshall Faulk gone. You think, got to have a running back. They think there might be a quality one in the second round also. And Bill Polian told me that if 3 quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3, it'll be a 75% chance or better. They went defense first, and you think Georgia cornerback Champ Bailey, who they love, and a running back in the second round. Should be interesting. On the clock. We're going to find out soon enough. Let's get out to New Orleans and Ed Werder.
Well, Sean, the Saints here have been desperately trying to trade up with the Colts for this pick, but the Colts have refused all trade offers, including a deal that would feature all of this year's draft, plus 1s and 3s next year and a 1 the following year. They have not been able to move into that position. The Colts telling them they're taking a player that they want that's on the board. Now, the question is it Champ Bailey or is it Ricky Williams? If they pass on Ricky Williams, the Saints have a deal in place with the Redskins to take Ricky Williams with the 5 pick. Chris, back to you.
All right, Ed, we will see what happens. Mel, well, let's look at of course, anybody will pale in comparison to the running statistics of the Heisman Trophy winner, Ricky Williams. I mean, these are career numbers of Ricky with over 6,200 rushing for Texas.
I'm Dr. Tina Shaw. Under Trump, our democracy and healthcare are in critical condition. I took on insurers to protect life-saving treatments. In Congress, I'll stop Trump's lawlessness and the corrupt politicians who help him and terrorize our communities.
Edgerrin James, really 2-year starter at Miami, although, 3,000 yards in 2 years is not too bad. If you compare and contrast these two, Mel, what would edge you one way, no pun intended, what would edge you another way?
Gave a slight edge, certainly, to Ricky Williams. I think staying around for 4 years. Remember, he would have been the 6th pick overall last year had he come out, went back, broke all those records, really put up big numbers, worked on his pass receiving, cut down on the fumbles, although he did have one late against Texas A&M. I think Ricky Williams given a slight edge to Edgerrin James did it over this season late in the year against UCLA and their big upset win over the Bruins and against NC State. But when he was on this year, he was unstoppable. Eric Dickerson-type size and breakaway speed in the best hands of any back upgraded in a long, long time. So Edgerrin James almost caught Ricky Williams, but you have to give the edge to Williams because he did it over the long haul.
Joe, you compare and contrast. I mean, Ricky, for productivity, he was unheralded.
Well, I like to look at it a little bit bigger picture. You certainly take a look at the numbers of these two men. They both put up big numbers. The thing is last year, the 7 picks the Colts had, 4 of them were on offense. You go and draft a Peyton Manning. Now you've got your quarterback. What's the next element that you need to get on your football team? You took a wide receiver last year. You've got that. Where do you want to go? You got rid of Marshall Faulk. I think you have to go the running back. Now you're going to complete that side of the ball. Then you can build through free agency in the draft the defensive side. But offensively, you're going to be set, not just for now, but for quite a period of time.
Well, I think this might be your first real curveball in the draft. I just do. I know Ricky Williams, I mean, we've been talking about him almost for 2 years, if not for 1 year. But if the Colts go running back, which I think they're going to do, don't be surprised if it's the other one, Edgerrin James. His signability may be a little bit different. That will raise a lot of eyebrows. A lot of people didn't think that a 2 and a 5 for Marshall Faulk was enough, but yet Marshall will be a free agent at the end of the year, will be very tough to sign. Bill Polian and the Colts were very happy with what they got in that trade for St. Louis. And now, one tee shot, here comes the shot into the green. Both shots, Mort, that we didn't expect him to take. I think he's going with the other back, Edgerrin James. Mortimer?
Chris, I think signability is always an issue with Bill Polian. Just look at his experience with Bianca Batuka in Carolina, holdout, injury, and a somewhat busted career so far. And no question signability was an issue with Marshall Faulk. And by the way, there are other teams with a higher grade on Edgerrin James than Ricky Williams, surprising as that is, Chris.
Mortimer, the Colts, I'm sure they took a last-ditch phone call from a team or two, but they've got the quarterback. Remember, they drafted Payton, wide receiver next. They can move the ball, and now they need a running back to take a little pressure off Peyton Manning, who set all sorts of passing records last year. They don't want him to set those same sort of records this year. They'd rather lug it. Is there activity up at the podium? Let's go up to the podium and get the pick from the Indianapolis Colts.
With the fourth choice in this draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Edgerrin James, running back, University of Miami. The Washington Redskins are now on the clock.
See, well, Ricky is obviously disappointed, and he's wondering what's happening. Now, was it just a Swami crystal ball that I just thought up? But they're both special backs. And now, what do you think, Mel, that Ricky Williams is 5 or lower?
I think it might have had something to do, certainly, with signability. I had Ricky Williams 1 on the draft board, Edgerrin James 2, and I don't know if a lot of people out there had Edgerrin James rated that high. I didn't put him over Williams because Williams did it over a longer period of time. But as I said earlier, when James was on, he was unstoppable. You watch a kid here, athletic and great tackles, and then turn on the jets. And I think that's the difference here with Edgerrin James. Big back who has size, has speed, and has toughness. Very fluid runner. Also, the outstanding hands coming out of the backfield, then the moves in the broken field, that ability after the catch for a kid who's strong and powerful.
One of the biggest, craziest draft day trades in all of NFL history.
Continues on down the
so
field.
in a historic 1999 NFL draft, the New Orleans Saints head coach Mike Dick treated all of the team's 1999 draft picks, first, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rounds, plus first and third overall picks in 2000, the Washington Redskins, to move to the fifth overall pick, draft running back Ricky Williams, who was said to be a franchise-changing running back. And this was a crazy trade at the time,
and if you
because the
get an
Saints
athlete
traded
upset,
so much.
he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's going to have something to prove. Whoever gets Ricky Williams is going to have an athlete that's really going to want to prove a point. But it also creates a major problem for the Washington Redskins. They want Champ Bailey.
Okay? Now
you got Ricky Williams sitting there. They certainly need a running back.
This was a big trade
It not only muddles the water as far as what the trade will be possibly with New Orleans, but now Charlie Casserly and North Turner have to sit there and say, wow, we never expected both of these athletes to be here. Now we have to make a choice. Which way do we go?
Joe, they had Skip Hicks.
This was probably the highlight of the draft,
They had
and
Stephen Davis.
basically
They have a
the
back in
biggest
Skip
trade,
Hicks that they really think has a chance to be a great
NFL
back.
history.
Do they go with Skip Hicks and roll the dice and keep him in the fold, or do they go with the back here and still stick with Champ Bailey?
Well, we know that, and we heard from Ed Werder in New Orleans earlier, that Washington and New Orleans were mixing up a little cocktail there. Is it still on the bar, Ed?
Well, Chris, you know, they're very excited about the possibility of getting Ricky Williams with this pick. The problem is the deal they had worked out with the Redskins for this pick was contingent upon the player the Redskins wanted being gone. And the guy they wanted is still on the board, Champ Bailey. So now it looks like the Saints may have to not only negotiate with the Redskins, but if that deal falls through and the Redskins take Bailey, they're going to have to get on the phone and talk to the Rams, Chris.
Well, now, let me give you another scenario, Ed. They're going to get on the phone. Mike Ditka's going to get on the phone and talk with the Chicago Bears at the 7th spot. That will be an interesting phone call all unto itself. Ed, any other deals that may be happening in New Orleans? I mean, they probably have talked 5 Washington, 6 St. Louis, 7 Chicago, as far down as 8 Arizona.
Well, Chris, they've already had discussions with the Bears at the 7th spot.
but they didn't think it was to get Ricky Williams. It was to get possibly David Boston with that pick, assuming, of course, at that point that Ricky Williams was already going to be off the board. So even if Williams goes 5 or 6 here, I still think you might see the Saints trade up to try to get Boston.
So this pick should take the limit of 15 rounds. If you've never watched an NFL draft before, hope the refrigerator is stocked. Each first-round pick, and there are 31 of them, there's 15 minutes, and the second round is 10 minutes. But thus far, Ricky Williams, a wonderful player. Ricky, thus far, has lost that number. We'll be back.
For centuries, our kings were cursed. The sedans had narrow handrails, making them hard to control in the corners. Sadly, many kings lost their thrones. Eventually, it was learned, wider is better.
With its speed-sensitive steering technology, the Wide Track Grand Prix gives you precise control of the corners.
Ancient scriptures still read, Yo Yangbo Gakido.
Wider is better. The Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac.
Before you can throw like an MVP, catch like an all-star, or hit like a Hall of Famer, you'll have to work like a Gabe Kapler. K-Swiss.
Pull over. Finally, after all these years, proof. As soon as we get this film developed, we're gonna be rich. In 1 hour, we're gonna be celebrities. We're gonna be...
One more, Grandpa.
Okay, sugar. Smile.
Hon, the Weekly World News is going to be here in 10 minutes.
Polaroid. See what develops.
Excuse me, we got him holding a giant yam. Y'all mind?
Progressive Commercial Insurance offers affordable small business protection. You can receive discounts on commercial auto insurance for safe driving and paying in full. And get customizable coverages for your business. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes.
Get up to 50% off gifts for Mom and Michaels. Save on floral, frames for her favorites, and so much more. Or try 10-minute custom framing plus balloons for an easy gift she'll love. Shop now in-store or online.
This ESPN News presentation of the 1999 NFL Draft is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to fly. By 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls. And by AXA and the Equitable. Start building your financial future today.
Back in New York at the 64th NFL Draft began back in 1936, and this one may be one of the more historic by the time it is over. Let's go back down to New Orleans and see if the trade did indeed go down. Ed?
Well, Chris, the Ricky Williams wait is just about over. The Saints have just completed a trade with the Redskins for this pick, and they will take Ricky Williams. Terms of that not known at this time. When I was on the phone with the War Room, the celebration was so loud at that point I was unable to get the details right now. But I'll pursue those and get back to you.
So a party already underway in New Orleans, and that's a town that doesn't really need an excuse for a party. Boy, Mike Ditka was so outspoken with what he wanted to trade for Ricky Williams, and you know what? He's got his man. Let's go up to the podium and join the commissioner. Yep. You know, when it's a trade card, it takes a little longer to fill out. And we thought this was ready to go, but first they read the trade, Joe.
Especially when you talk about this kind of a trade.
With
There's a
8 or
whole
9
bunch
picks.
of numbers. Yeah, it's not like here's a 1, here's a 2. It's a 1, it's a 2. It's everything in 99. It's part of 2000. And Ricky can't be disappointed because he's going someplace where somebody really expects him to contribute, wants him to contribute, and he will be embraced and needed to play there in New Orleans to give them some semblance of a running game.
Well, let's see if this is indeed the moment for the most prolific back in terms of yards in Division 1A history.
I think he's going to be sensational. I really do.
I do too. I
think he's going to be a terrific football player. And the only reason he's fallen is simply because of needs of other football teams, not because it's a reflection on his ability.
Mike Ditka loves him.
There has been a trade involving this fifth pick in the draft. The New Orleans Saints are now on the clock.
Well, they won't be on the clock for long. So the Saints have moved up, and now Ricky knows. And you know what? He's going to a place where he is going to be embraced, and he is going to get the ball immediately because there's an offense that, well, Mike Ditka knows a little bit about some decent backs. Sweden is the all-time leader in the pros. Now he gets the all-time leader in college football, Ricky Williams.
Well, he does, and I think Ricky Williams is a phenomenal back, but they still have a quarterback problem in New Orleans. Billy Joe Hobart off an Achilles tendon injury. You get the great back, Ricky's going to have to carry that offense because I think the triggerman still to be determined. I'm not a Billy Joe Hobart supporter as a starting quarterback in this league.
Billy Joe, everybody named Billy Joe and Bobby Joe is on the New Orleans depth chart at quarterback.
You got to be a Joe if you're there.
But they know how to hand off, and they'll learn awfully quickly. Ed Werder back to New Orleans. What's the latest? Has the reveling died down?
Probably not, but enough so that I was able to get the terms of the deal. The Saints are going to get him cheaper than they expected. They're giving up all of their draft this year and next year's number 1 and number 3 picks. So they get Ricky Williams for less than some people might have imagined. Chris, they couldn't be more excited. Mike Ditka came in with a big cigar here today. I think he just lit it up.
That's okay.
Well, that was his original offer that was out there for about a week or so. All my draft and a 1 and a 3 next year. So, I mean, he's paying dearly. Is this too much to pay for a player of this sort?
I don't think so. We talked about him, and Mel had him rated as the number 1 player in the draft. When you're talking about the number 1 rated player in the draft, I don't think any price is too high to pay, especially if you're in a situation where Mike Ditka is, and you say to yourself, I can't run the football. I've not been able to run the football, and I am the man that likes to run the football. Everything I do is based off that. I don't think it's too much.
Let me ask you this, Joe. Billy Joe Hobart, the starting quarterback, off an Achilles tendon injury. Is this a package with Williams and Hobart they can win with?
I think it's a package that it's a foundation to start with. I think they're going to have to go find a quarterback at some point in time, and I think they'll be able to.
Let me just tell you what the picks are. A 12th round overall pick in this year. They have no second to the Saints, so the Skins now get a 1, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, and a 7, and a 1 and a 3 next year. Meanwhile, Indianapolis turned some heads. Edgerrin James, not Ricky Williams. Sean Salisbury, you're with the coach of the Colts, Jim Mora. Sean?
Thanks, Boomer. Coach Mora. You talk about Ricky Williams. You surprised the world with Edgerrin James.
Well, we like both backs. We think they're both outstanding backs and are going to be very good backs in the National Football League. But basically, we feel that Edgerrin gives us a little bit more what we want to do with our offense, and that's why we picked him.
Now, I know that the Saints came at you with a big offer also, plus a couple extra veteran players. Why not take that? Is Edgerrin James that good?
Well, we like him in a lot, and we just felt like to get a back of that caliber at this point from a standpoint of our offense and how he fits in with the rest of our young guys on offense, that we just felt like we needed to have him.
Boomer, they got their running back and quarterback. Let's go back to you.
All right, John and Coach Mora, thank you very much. And now music to the ears of Mike Ditka in New Orleans as it is about to be made official.
With the fifth pick in the draft, the New Orleans Saints select Ricky Williams, running back, University of Texas. St. Louis Rams are now on the clock.
You know what? A couple of years from now, even later on this year, nobody will care that you didn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and you went 5 instead of 1. If you gain what we think Ricky Williams is going to gain, 13, I mean, I don't want to put a number on it. You gain that. Who will care?
Even when your room is 80 degrees, your bed can be 55. That's the Pod, a cooling cover that fits over your current mattress. It cools with water, not air, circulated through thin tubes to keep your body at the perfect temperature. Where other beds trap heat, the Pod removes it. The result? A 32% improvement in sleep quality, proven in clinical studies. What used to be hot 3 a.m. wake-ups is now steady, cooling comfort. Start sleeping cooler at 8sleep.com.
Feeling healthy by leaps and bounds. Making a dinner that makes their whole day. And giving your best friend the best nutrients for their best life. Science did that.
that you weren't the first overall pick in the draft. That doesn't mean anything.
And from an economic standpoint, I don't think it will. I think you have to treat him like the number one pick in the draft from an economic standpoint as well.
And he'll become
right, Mel? Yes, economically is the difference. But so what? If he's going to play 10 years, plenty of chance of making it up. And he's not going to suffer at number 5 anyway.
And if you think he was motivated last year when he won a Heisman Trophy, wait till this coming season and the seasons to come when he goes into the NFL with something to prove. You see Earl Campbell here. You're going to see that same style. There's Isaiah Robertson. You see the same style. That's why they call him Little Earl, the way he just stampedes defenders. There's Dave Elmendorf. Or Moran.
Good job, Mel.
I mean, you're looking at a back who can break tackles, has incredible quickness, and has that ability that I think when you're talking about a 234-pounder, he can run away from people in the secondary. And that's the difference. I think when you look at Ricky Williams, you're looking at a complete football player. You see the speed here. With the pads on, I don't care how much you listen to 40 times. With the pads on, and there he is wearing number 11. What's number 34? Then the number 37. Memory of Doak Walker. Here he is catching the football out of the backfield. Then making people miss in the open field. Thompson is a tremendous football player, and as I said, Chris, now you're getting your Saints. You're getting Ricky Williams with an attitude to say, hey, take another running back ahead of me. Let me drop down to 5. I'm going to prove everybody wrong.
First thing about attitude, you're wondering if the Saints play the Colts this year. They do not, so they'll have to wait till at least another season. Number 2 about attitude, the relationship between now the late Doak Walker and Ricky Williams was legitimate and heartfelt, and I think that speaks volumes about the young man. I mean, he really developed a kinship with Doak Walker the last couple of years. I think that tells you more about the guy. But Mike Ditka already summed that up himself. Let's go down to New Orleans and join Ed Werder with the coach.
I'm here with Coach Mike Ditka, who just lit up his celebratory cigar, and it looks like you may be smoking that for some time.
This could last 3 or 4 weeks.
What was it like going through that draft, wondering if the Colts were, when they wouldn't make the trade with you, whether they were going to take the player you wanted?
Well, we really thought they were, and we tried with everybody. Bill was been on the phone for a week, and actually very, very much this morning, and we thought maybe we could get something done. I mean, I thought that the offer we made was beyond reason, but I guess other people have their own feelings about that. I believe things are supposed to happen for reasons, and I think he's supposed to come here. I mean, I really believe that. I love the kid. I love everything about him. I watched every player, and there's a lot of great football players in this draft. And we would have been happy with some other ones, but I tell you what, he's what we need. We really need this kid, and I think he's going to show everybody, too, that he is the best college football player coming out. I don't care about the other guys.
Think he might come in a little bit angry, given that Edgerrin James went ahead of him?
No, I don't think Ricky's that kind of kid. I really don't. I don't think he worries about that. I think he just knows he's got a job to do. He's going to come in and do it to the best of his ability, and we're going to become a much better football team because of him.
Beyond what he does on the football field for you, does he give you an identity that you sorely lack?
Well, he gives us what Walter Payton gave us in Chicago. He gave us what Walter Payton did, in Chicago. I mean, you got a great running back. You give him the ball. It makes your offense better. It makes your passing game better, hopefully. And it makes your defense better because they're not on the field as much. And if they want to put 8 or 9 men up front to stop them, we'll find a way to combat that because we think we can. And he's also a pretty good receiver now when you take him out of the backfield, but I don't think that's what you want to do with him too much.
Well, you have no more picks now. You look like you're dressed for an evening out. What will you do with the rest of the day?
Gone golfing. You want me to sing?
If you'd like. What?
On a shady Sunday day, or Saturday, whatever it is.
What was the reaction in your room when James was passed and you knew you had the deal in place with the Redskins?
It was pretty calm except for me and Danny and Tom and Bill and everybody else because he's the player, I guess maybe you make a mistake when you make a commitment like I made early, and I said this, I'd give up my draft for him and this and that, but I would, and I meant it. I wasn't kidding. I don't believe in playing the games that some of these teams play. I mean, everything is so much intrigue, it kind of tickles me to death. I mean, if every people were that smart, what the hell, they ought to know who they want.
Okay, Mike Ditka gets the only player he wants and the rest of the day off. Boomer, back to you.
All right, Ed and Coach, thank you. You know what I love? There are 30 other coaches and GMs, et cetera, that are sweating this thing out for 2 days. And Mike is now going to work on his handicap. I think it's great. Here is the trade as we spoke
and
to you
here's
before,
the Ricky Williams trade once again. And it was just
remember, only dropped down to 7 slots now.
Could have
it's not
happened
like they dropped out of the first round. So
so much up to just move from 12 to 5th. As you can see, the Saints traded up to get the 5th pick in the draft, which they selected running back Ricky Williams. But Washington, they probably got the most out of this pick, getting the first pick, the 12th pick in the draft, rounds 3 through 7, and first and third picks in the 2000 NFL draft. And this was just like the biggest draft day trade of all time, the biggest draft day trade of all time. And it was just crazy what was happening to like Ricky Williams in this draft.
Who got the better of it? It's a lot to give
up. It was just so iconic, and
like I said, Ricky Williams
so
was
much
the number 1 player in the draft.
Like,
the only problem is he dropped to
happened
5, and to go up to 5 to get the number 1 player.
So we're flying over the Persian Gulf at night. I'm the new guy in the co-pilot seat. The aircraft commander, Rebecca Bennett. Rebecca will take on all the Trump corruption and end Trump's reckless wars that are driving prices. She has the courage to lead this fight.
Wayfair presents lighting. Get the latest looks with top fixtures at low prices and a huge lineup of floor lamps, all under $79. Shop tons of table lamps, $49 or less. Go modern, stay classic, or get weird in a good way. Plus, Wayfair has installation services and fast and free shipping over $35. All the lighting, none of the stress. Now that's a glow up. So hit the lights. Shop lighting for way less at Wayfair.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Yeah, if you're talking about a Saint team that was 1 player away, maybe you would agree. I still think they have to get that quarterback. Billy Joe Hobart off the injury. Billy Joe Tolliver, a career backup. They need the quarterback to get the job done. And I think when you look at it from the Redskin perspective, a lot of needs. They need those hole fillers. I've always been an advocate of moving down. Now they're set for next year's draft. They can utilize that 12th pick to help out the offensive line. But they do lose out on Champ Bailey and Chris McAllister, who would have been tremendous additions to that Redskin secondary.
Heisman Trophy winners were running backs in the NFL. Some of them have made their mark for all time. A guy named Barry Sanders, who was drafted 10 years ago in the number 3 slot. Tony Dorsett, Hall of Fame. Marcus Allen will be Hall of Fame. The Juice, Earl Campbell, Herschel Walker. These are some of the Heisman trophies who have really made their mark. Now, of course, it's not 100%. It's not even 90%. But if Little Earl can become Big Earl, Mike Ditka will have a deal well worth it. We'll be back with St. Louis on the clock.
We had our first client before we had our first office.
Back then, we thought my green thumb and my brother's vivid imagination were all we needed.
We didn't count on nights and weekends trying to be bookkeeper and general manager. Before long, I could see we needed help. Financial help.
Someone suggested American Express Small Business Services, so I called. We knew about the corporate card.
But we had no idea it could help us grow.
Right away, we got a handle on expenses.
And when larger projects came along, they gave us the financing we needed.
We got more powerful equipment, brand new computers. We even get discounts on the gas we buy and the packages we send.
1-800-SUCCESS was the best call we ever made.
You know, with the corporate card, we've learned what it's like to have a partner you can count on.
And a brother.
To apply for the corporate card and help your business do more, call 1-800-SUCCESS.
Tonight on ESPN, National Hockey Night, Baseball Tonight, and Sports Center. On ESPN2, the 99 NFL Draft, followed by X in Concert and NHL Tonight. And on ESPN Classic, Behind the Fights and College Basketball Classics. Do you have all the ESPN networks?
The St. Louis Rams, who have been a busy week and a major factor in this draft before they even stepped up to the plate, which they are on the clock right now, by making a trade 2 days ago for Marshall Falk, get a running back that they covered, get a running back who was a former number 2 draft pick in the entire draft, in exchange for a high 2, and a 5. So the Rams are on the clock, who now have a choice.
It worked out for both teams
in either defensive back, the Deion Sanders, if you will, Champ Bailey, or Chris McAllister, if you will, some compare him to Ronnie Lott. That's coming up. Ricky Williams, though, has a home, and his home right now is with Mike Tirico. Michael?
just
All right,
crazy
Chris, thank you. Ricky, I was watching you as you were standing backstage. In 10 minutes, you went from being passed over for another running back to being traded for, and in return, the other team got 7 future players.
Right.
What was your range of emotions in those 10 minutes?
Well, I think I expected Indy to take me because in talking to them, they sounded very interesting. So I was kind of surprised that they passed on me, but excited I'm going somewhere where I'm really wanted.
Were you mad?
Mad? No, I wasn't mad at all.
When you look ahead now, do you have something to prove to people because you were the second back taken in this draft?
I don't think so. I'm just going to go out there and play football the way I always do. I'm not worried about proving anything to anyone.
Some people talked about some things that have gone on since the Heisman period in the banquet circuit and your weight. Did you think that showed people that you weren't disciplined enough to do what you needed to do to be ready for the most important day of your professional life, which is up to now, today?
Well, I'm sure they could have taken it that way, but I know what I can do, and I've done it for 4 years, so hopefully I can keep on doing it.
Signability. Some people thought that may be a question. Your agent, Master P, who is a multimillionaire and a very successful businessman, but not experienced in the world of football and negotiating. Do you think that was something seen by some people as a negative?
I don't know. I'm sure it could have been, but it's their first contract. We'll see how that goes, and in the future they won't have this problem.
I don't know if you got a chance to see Coach Ditka. Big Hawaiian shirt, huge cigar. He's going off to celebrate because he's done for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
He said he wanted you, and he got you. What does that make you feel like?
It feels great. I was down there last week, and they were talking about all the coaches were saying, if we draft you, we can just go home and hit the golf course and get home early instead of being there all weekend. So I think all the coaches are excited, and I'm also excited about being the same.
That's the good news, but you follow football. You know people talk about the Herschel Walker trade and all those picks. People are going to talk about the Ricky Williams trade down the line. You've carried a lot of burdens all the way through here. Are you ready to carry that burden into the pros?
I'm not too worried. I'm just going to go out there and do all I can do, and if it's not good enough, I try my best. And if it is, then great.
You handled this like they've handled every step along the way. Class, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Ricky.
All right.
Boom, back to you.
All right, Michael. All right, Ricky, congratulations going to the Saints. And just
starting a business? Put it in the right hands with LegalZoom. Because the last thing you'd want to do is let it fall into the wrong hands. With easy-to-use tech and 25 years of experience, LegalZoom offers personalized support to help ensure your business is formed accurately and complies with state regulations. So if you need a legal hand, visit LegalZoom. LegalZoom provides access to independent attorneys and self-service tools. LegalZoom is not a law firm and does not provide legal advice.
look at these numbers. Hard to get more gaudy than this. NCAA record in fans Tony Dorsett for career yards of 6,200 plus. Yards a carry, breaking the record of the two-time Heisman Trophy winner Archie Griffin. Anthony Thompson had the rushing touchdown record, broken. Touchdowns in 2 seasons, broke Barry's. Broke Marcus Allen's record of 200-yard games. I mean, not only are they records, he's breaking records of guys that went down to be pretty darn good, Mel.
Oh, he did it all. I think when you look at what he did at the college level, phenomenal productivity.
Now they picked that
Washington
acquired from the Saints during the Ricky Williams trade. They would actually trade that pick up to go 7th to select Champ Bailey, who would be the next Hall of Famer in this draft, which is just crazy. And Washington would actually select the next Hall of Famer, while the Saints traded so much up to try to get this one player who they would think would be a franchise changer and like the next Hall of Fame player. But Washington would actually get it at 7th, trading up with the Bears. They actually traded with the Chicago Bears, and they would get the 12th pick, and Washington would then get the 7th pick. And it was just crazy what was happening during this draft. This was probably the most craziest and the most iconic and historic NFL draft of all time, and it was just crazy with how much was happening.
With the 6th pick in the draft, the St. Louis Rams select Tory Holt, wide receiver, North Carolina.
Well, even with Champ Bailey there, they stuck to their plan late last night, which was Holt, Mel.
Very polished receiver, Chris. He went back for his senior year, worked all summer on his route running. Watch him set up the cornerback, catch the deep ball here. You see the route running, you see the polish, the hands, everything very effortless for Tory Holt. That came this year. Like I say, studied hard during the summer, worked on his route running, and here, the vision, the eyes, watching the quarterback, working with the quarterback, making the tough reception. Watch the concentration here. And that's as a senior. As a junior, he made a lot of improvement during the course of this past season. Touchdown reception with his hands. Here's a punt return against Florida State. And get wide and then turn on the speed, break a tackle. So you're looking at a kid who has a great deal of athletic ability.